welcome to another edition of Sustaining Australia TV, the innovative online program covering the issues and promoting discussion around topics which are important to your industry. Sustaining Australia TV is an innovative online news-style program proudly brought to you by the Australian Food and Grocery Council. This $127 billion industry affects the lives of every Australian. And in this episode, we look at the important role played by those in regional Australia and rural areas and the importance of engaging with communities. And we hear from politicians and business leaders who are shaping the country's future and what it means for those in regional areas. Coming up, AFGC Chief Executive Officer Tanya Barden on the importance of regional Australia and engaging communities to the food and grocery industry.
We have a third of all food and grocery manufacturing based in regional communities. We have 108,000 jobs that are in those areas.
How our industry is partnering farmers, community groups and our employees to promote food supply while protecting the environment. And industry leaders discuss their engagement with regional Australia and engaging communities.
Those communities are our communities. Our associates live and work and operate and play sport and are actively involved in those communities.
Food and grocery manufacturing very much relies on the quality of Australian agricultural product. We have a third of all food and grocery manufacturing based in regional communities. We have 108,000 jobs that are in those areas. So it has a really important direct footprint in terms of employment and economic contribution to those areas. Sometimes these sorts of companies are the critical heart and soul of a regional community, and off the back of having a strong food and grocery manufacturer, you can support then a local swimming pool, local businesses, local community associations that otherwise might not thrive if you don't have strong employment opportunities in these regions. But it is difficult in getting the right skills in those areas, particularly as industry transitions towards smarter manufacturing technology. It means having more data analysts and more software engineers and those sorts of roles, which can be harder to get in rural and regional areas.
Climate change is one of the biggest challenges facing Australian farmers as they try to meet competing needs of providing food products while protecting the environment. Soil health is a top priority, and food producer Kellogg Australia has joined others in the industry to support farmers as they look after this valuable long-term asset with the aid of science. As Helen Ballard explains, it's a true paddock-to-product partnership.
Kellogg Australia has had a long and supportive relationship with Aussie farmers for almost a century, and it's working hard with local communities to help ensure the world we live in is in good shape for generations to come. And it starts with this, the very soil to grow crops. Life on the land in recent years has been extremely tough, with the weather extremes of flash flooding and drought. For farmers, the key to survival is future-proofing their most precious, most fundamental resource. And that's the aim of the Cool Soil initiative, unlocking the secrets of the soil to give farmers the information they need for a sustainable future. Kellogg Australia and its industry partners are working hard to quantify greenhouse gas emissions from wheat production, to help farmers reduce them by using different farming practices without compromising productivity or profitability. This true paddock-to-product partnership will work with 200 wheat farmers to help not only nurture the planet but also produce healthy returns for farmers.
The Cool Soil initiative is designed to work closely with our farmers to help improve soil health, because we know that better soil health delivers better and more abundant crops, and there's some evidence that it supports better water retention too.
While the major benefit of the Cool Soil program is long-term, fourth-generation farmer Andrew Russell is seeing tangible results already.
We've actually got a baseline to actually start to look at our soil organic carbon levels, for instance, which we can now actually start to measure and look at trends we can attempt to slow down trends, negative trends, and try and turn those trends around so that we can actually grow some soil organic matter in our systems. And that's really the holy grail.
Wheat farmers Fiona Marshall and her husband Craig are also involved in the program. For them, the benefit is being able to measure long-term what is good and bad for the soil. They're no longer flying blind. It's giving them certainty about how to manage their paddocks in an uncertain climatic time.
Well, practices that we used before are now being used with more evidence behind them. We're making decisions based on data. You can't fix what you don't measure.
With the backing of Charles Sturt University, Cool Soil gives farmers an evidence-based approach to restore their soils. Professor of Food Sustainability at Charles Sturt University, Niall Blair, makes sure the data is right to tackle the ongoing challenge of climate change and its effects on the soil.
Well, we know soil health is so important for our farmers, particularly those that are growing grains that are coming out of that soil, and it's the lifeline that they have. But it's not just about making sure that that soil is healthy. It's also about playing their part in reducing greenhouse gas emissions, because our farmers are the ones that will bear the brunt if we don't get this climate change challenge right.
So through Cool Soil and with the support of our partners, if we are able to increase carbon soil by just 0.1% over the course of 3 years across about 700,000 hectares of farmland, that would be the equivalent of taking 1.2 million cars off the road. That's pretty significant.
Food production is the key to life on the planet. Farmers are on the front line protecting it from the soil up. The next few decades are going to be the most challenging yet. But with the backing of Kellogg Australia and its industry partners, we are in good hands.
A farm is one of those things. We're only custodians of the land, and our job is to look after the land as best we can. And myself and my wife, our motive is to hand on this farm in better condition than what we found it.
We need to look after our soil so that our children and our children's children can be farming this country in 100, 150 years.
Regional areas across the country support the continued growth of our food and grocery industry as we increasingly face challenges around environment and sustainability. We joined industry leaders at the Food and Grocery Australia conference as they discussed the need for continued engagement and investment in regional Australia.
We're in the food industry, and food comes from the land. In fact, what we do is we bring Earth's resources to life. And that means often our investments are close to the farmlands, close to the raw material, and that is often regional based. And by doing that, we have a big contribution to the communities, the regional communities, the spending power and the vibrancy of those communities.
It's important that we have rural-based manufacturing. It's important that we engage with those communities, and those communities are our communities. Our associates live and work and operate and play sport and are actively involved in those communities. So if I look at Ballarat, for example, where our confections factory is, where we make M&Ms, that is, we've got associates that work there for an average of 22 years.
If you look across all of our supply chain, it's small communities and a lot of small farming communities and collectives who actually produce the raw material that goes into the products that we make. So ensuring that those communities are successful and viable and sustainable is really critical to our success.
During times of crisis like bushfires, which we have on a regular basis, floods, COVID, it's important that we can engage in the communities and do what's right, be kind in our communities, because our associates say that's how we do business.
Being predominantly an agricultural-based supply chain, actually having that sustainability and responsibility to the community really underpins our success for the past 130 years and certainly will do in the future.
The food industry is an ecosystem, and regional Australia plays a very big part in that.
AFGC members are also involved in community engagement. For the Sanitarium Health Food Company, that means giving back to the community and helping reduce food waste and hunger. Louise Donnelly joined the company and its partners at Food Bank Australia, where it provides healthy breakfasts for Australian children in need.
Peter Lucas is a volunteer at Food Bank, but before that he was their finance director and chair of the Audit and Risk Committee.
I was on the board initially and I was so impressed with the concept of the green side and the welfare side that I just continued on with it, and will continue on as long as I can.
Now, every 2 weeks, he and his wife Elaine spend a few hours working at a food bank warehouse, packing hampers and stocking shelves with goods bound for those less fortunate in the community.
Great, we're all set.
It's absolutely rewarding. My wife and I come out here every fortnight and do various things, pack hampers, unpack stuff that's come in from donors, put it on the shelves so that people, charities can take it out of there and make good use of it. It makes sense for people to be able to get it out to charities that need it, to be able to feed hungry people.
Chichi Dirisame is a driver for Hands and Feet, one of the 2,400 food bank charity partners.
Food bank is very crucial in our operation. We provide food for approximately 1,500 needy people a week, and of that, 40% of our food is sourced from food bank. That means a lot because we are noticing that there has been a 30% increase in the need for food as a result of COVID and as a result of people being displaced from their jobs. So partnering with Food Bank is just a godsend, and that's how we view it.
According to Food Bank, the country's largest food relief organisation, Australia has a hunger problem, reporting that 1 in 5 Australians has gone without a meal within the last 12 months or doesn't know where their next meal is coming from.
One of the challenges we have at Food Bank is we have a surprise chain rather than a supply chain. We never know day in, day out what's going to come through these amazing warehouses. The challenge we have is that charities need particular items year round, and they tend to be our most efficient supply chains, so we're not going to get reliable volumes through what we call food rescue. That means we have to work with the industry in a partnership to manufacture and produce those items so that we have them every day in every warehouse.
The Sanitarium Health Food Company has been in partnership with Food Bank for the last 10 years.
Sanitarium has been one of our most important partners, making sure that one of those iconic staple products that we want to see in every Australian home in the form of Weet-Bix can be in those homes because of this collaboration.
Sanitarium chose to partner with Food Bank simply because of the issue of hunger. For those that aren't doing it so well in our community, this is aligned to our purpose. Our purpose is changing lives every day through whole person health.
Packaging company Opal Cartons has been part of the collaborative food supply program for the last 4 years.
We're really pleased to be able to take these kind of initiatives. Obviously it's led by Sanitarium, and we're really proud to be able to support that. And when we talked about the activity with our team members, they're really actually enthralled and excited about being able to do the same.
The 10-year Sanitarium and Food Bank partnership has provided millions of meals for the community. That is equated to a $29 million social return on investment.
The company's biggest value is humility, putting others before yourself. It's an unusual value. You don't often see it reflected in corporate values, but it's one that is the core of Sanitarium.
Reflecting this, Sanitarium's collaboration with Food Bank supports breakfast clubs in schools. The Good Start Breakfast program delivers 1.5 million serves of food to school children each year.
Todd, you've been to a breakfast club. Tell me a bit about that experience.
I went to a breakfast club in Blacktown, and to see the kids that were arriving there to be fed, they hadn't had breakfast. It was an absolute privilege for me to be able to serve them, to talk with them, to have a chat about their day. And you could see that the food that they were getting was firing them up. It was getting them ready for the day. Their teachers were reflecting to me about how much better these kids learned as a result of having breakfast. And it was really humbling just to be there in that moment and know that we're actually making a difference.
The AFGC plays a crucial role in connecting the food and grocery industry with the local, state and federal politicians who can provide support for the industry. We asked regional MPs Lisa Chesters and Damien Drum to share their thoughts on the challenges and importance of regional Australia to the industry.
We grow up with, whether it be with fruit or with dairy or with beef and wool, but we grow up in the area and we see the produce that is actually grown here in Australia. And if you happen to live in one of those food or fibre producing areas, you become acutely aware of just how important it is to your area.
We are a country that grows so much of our own produce. We should be a country that then converts that fresh produce into food and groceries that we buy every day from the supermarket, on a sustainability level, on a health level, on a jobs level and local economy level. Food manufacturing just ticks all the boxes.
So once you have a good look at what food production does in your area and the relationship between food and grocery manufacturing, then you start to see all these other associated industries that are just critical, and it all just swims around in one big pool. But it all starts on the land, and then it moves on to processing and then packaging, manufacturing, food and grocery, and all the associated support that has to make that happen.
It's also too the diversity of jobs. So that's the entry level jobs. But in terms of engineering, in terms of IT, as these facilities become more high tech and the equipment that's in there becomes more high tech, there's lots of skilling up opportunities that are happening.
I think the most important thing is that right from the farm gate, right through to transport, packaging and effectively retail, everybody needs to be able to get a good drink out of this sector. And if we can do that, then we're going to prosper. Once there's an imbalance, as soon as we create an imbalance, people start to lose faith, people start to walk away from their particular part of the food chain, and nobody benefits from that.
The food industry is highly reliant on the land and its relationship with the communities where livelihoods depend upon it. A family-owned business, Ferrero Australia, approaches sustainability and environmental care globally while winning hearts and minds locally through being respectful of employees and local communities. As I discovered, it's a winning combination.
Autumn in the Riverina district of New South Wales, and almost 1 million hazelnut trees planted by family-run confectionery company Ferrero are starting to change colour. Unchanged is the company's guiding CSR principle, sharing values to create value. And through this ambitious pilot project, Ferrero aims to share learnings with local farmers as they work together to expand Australia's hazelnut industry.
It's an amazing site, having come here earlier when the company started to see a small number of trees, now to see close to 1 million trees in the ground really excites me and excites the industry.
Since 2011, the Agri-Australis team has been working with state and federal governments and the Hazelnut Growers Association. The aim is to safely introduce new hazelnut species and develop a counter-seasonal supply during the Northern Hemisphere's winter, with good agricultural practices, economic and environmental sustainability and innovation. It's a timely opportunity for local farmers.
Nut trees are becoming more and more popular here, and hazelnuts in particular are a real boon to the economy across the region. Ferrero have a program where they're actually helping farmers to understand how they can cultivate the nuts, how they can become part of this growing industry. So it's an education piece that Ferrero are bringing.
It's a win in the sense that we've gone from a smaller emerging industry with an increased production, increased trees in the ground. The industry has a stronger base to expand from, and ultimately it'll be a win-win for the consumer and the value-add industries.
5 hours drive away in Lithgow, Ferrero has been manufacturing Nutella hazelnut spread and its iconic Tic Tac mints for the Australian and Asian markets since 1976. It was the company's first production site outside of Europe, and in a small town like this, people notice how you behave. Here, Ferrero is a company known for its values, caring for employees, the local community, and the environment. The Lithgow factory reflects the company's global commitment to minimising environmental impact, from raw materials through to production plant and logistics. Ferrero is working to halve its greenhouse gas emissions by 2030, a target consistent with the most ambitious of the Paris Agreement's goals, which aim to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. The factory is on track for zero manufacturing waste to landfill by 2030. Rooftop solar panels generate up to 25% of electricity requirements for production, working to a target of 100% by 2030. And tons of plastic have already been removed from the production process. This focus on sustainability has won Ferrero many awards locally, including this Green Globe. It's no wonder that Ferrero is a preferred employer in the community, providing more than 100 permanent jobs and up to 50 additional seasonal positions. Caroline Luca's experience is typical of the personal and professional development opportunities offered to employees. After 40 years of service, she was recognised with a surprise trip to Italy and a personal thank you from the Ferrero family and directors.
I think the company just does over and above for their employees. It's just a wonderful company. I'm proud to work for Ferrero. I love my job.
And for Lithgow visitors, well, Mayor Ray Thompson says it isn't just the spectacular views that impress.
Ferrero is part and parcel of Lithgow. I can't wait to get away and they say, you know, what does Lithgow offer? And the first thing I say, well, Ferrero's in Lithgow. So I think that is, a great thing to be able to say about your town. And as soon as you say that, they say Ferrero, Rocher's, like they pick it up straight away. And, it is a great feel to think that you have got a company of world renown in your town.
Ask anyone around here and they'll tell you that it's because Ferrero is a family-run company that it's such a good corporate citizen, striving always to be a force of good.
The relationship's fantastic, both with the New South Wales State Government and with the local council here. They're very proud to have Ferrero as part of their economic mix, and even in the community you can see that people in the street are more excited because they have somebody who's supporting their community.
The Nutella lines in Lithgow won't be processing nuts from Agri-Australis yet. But Ferrero's commitment to the local hazelnut industry reflects its global commitments to both people and planet. The company is focused on manufacturing products for iconic brands including Nutella, Tic Tac, Kinder and Ferrero Rocher using only sustainable ingredients. Ferrero already uses 100% sustainably sourced palm oil. All of the cocoa Ferrero uses comes from 100% certified sustainable sources, and they're working to reach 100% traceability for hazelnuts. The company continues to set ambitious goals, committing to make all packaging 100% reusable, recyclable or compostable by 2025. It's not the only reason that Nutella has become a favourite spread for fans around the world. But there's good business sense in social responsibility, strong corporate values, and initiatives that consumers can feel good about, values that will ultimately benefit us all.
And that's all for Sustaining Australia TV for this episode. Keep an eye out for other episodes which will look at the future of food through innovation and technology, sustainability, and the crucial areas of traceability and provenance. We hope you can join us. But from me and from the team, it's goodbye for now.